Greetings, Earthlings, and welcome back to another Toddy Walnuts collection overview video. And today, this is one I've been anticipating for a while. I'm looking forward to putting this video together for you guys. This is my Charles Bronson collection, and I have it kind of subcategorized here. I have two Steelbooks. I have a stack of miscellaneous, I think. Yeah, let me see here. Yeah, these are my miscellaneous titles, and I have my Twilight Time, Kino. These are my Death Wish Blu-rays. I have my Death Wish DVDs, and I have kind of a miscellaneous stuff on DVDs here. I have a Mediabook. I have a couple of Laserdiscs, and I have a little shelf of VHS tapes that we'll go through at the very end. And we're joined by the girls, Hannah, front and center, Heidi. And we hope you guys are having a great weekend. Let's check out these movies. Thought we'd dive into the Steelbooks first. So I have Once Upon a Time in the West. It's a Sergio Leone movie, and this has an all-star cast. This is a great movie. I've seen this probably 10 times in my life, and it never gets old to me. Henry Fonda is the villain in this movie, and he plays a real bastard. He plays a great role. He originally turned down this movie when Sergio Leone called him and said, "I want you to be in this movie." Fonda said, nah, I'm not really in the mood right now to make a movie. He had a couple of other irons in the fire, so to speak, but Sergio Leone flew from Italy to, I believe he was, Fonda was living in LA at the time, and he told him that, you know, we want you to be the bad guy. You've always been known to be the hero or, you know, kind of the clean-cut good guy, but we want you to be a real dirty bastard in this movie. And he said, sign me up, let's do it. Also has Charles Bronson and Jason Robards, and they were kind of mercenaries. They weren't neither good or bad, but they were trying to protect the widow, who was played by Claudia Cardinale. And I mean, this is just a fantastic movie. This is a British release, and it has a nice slipcover. To see Henry Fonda in a role like this was really weird, and it kind of just, it gave you the creeps. He was a real dirty creep in this movie. So here is the Blu-ray, and then there's a scene there on the inside. This is a really nice Steelbook. I think the movie came out in 1968. I'm gonna have to check that really quick. I think it was 68, but we're done with this movie anyway. I'm gonna put this away, and then I'll tell you the year. I mean, this is a Charles Bronson video, so I should talk a little bit more about Charles Bronson in the movie. I'm not sure what I was even doing there. But yes, the movie did come out in 1968, and the character that was played by Bronson was called Harmonica, and he always played this eerie tune on his harmonica. And whenever that tune was played, something bad was about to happen. And there's a reason why he plays the harmonica, but I can't tell you why without spoiling something. And Charles Bronson's character, Harmonica, is hell-bent on getting revenge against Henry Fonda's character. Jason Robards is basically trying to find money that he thought was hidden by the late husband of Claudia Cardinale. So that's how they all kind of came together. Again, excellent movie. The next one here is the last Steelbook that I have, The Magnificent Seven, another wonderful movie. This was a movie that was kind of taken from The Seven Samurai by Akira Kurosawa. This is the 4K Ultra HD and Blu-ray. I don't know if there's a digital code, but if there is, I will give you one. We're going to open this. I got this about a week ago, anticipating making this video, and I haven't opened it because I was going to open it here with you guys. But you can see some of the special features there. If you want to do a little reading here on the synopsis, you can do that. And this was put out by Shout Factory. Let me pause it, take the plastic off. So this is a really nice looking steelbook, but I do have kind of a gripe. Steelbooks are not cheap for the most part, especially the 4K steelbooks. And when I was taking the plastic off, I noticed that they just had this completely plain back case, and it just seems like such a waste. That's a lot of palette there. They could put some really cool things. I like the way the front looks, though. You can see some of the cast of characters here. You have Steve McQueen, and then to his right you have Yul Brynner, and then below him you have Eli Wallach. And Charles Bronson is also in this movie, but it's not a really big role. It's kind of one of his early roles. And you have the 4K here, and the Blu-ray. And you can see kind of a panoramic viewing of the characters again. And there's, I believe that is Charles right there, if you can see. They kind of put, yeah, you can sort of see it. This is a really fun movie. They made a remake of this several years ago now. I thought that one was good too. I really enjoyed this movie. One of Charles' lesser roles. He wasn't really a big part of it, but still part of the Charles Bronson collection. The Magnificent Seven, 1960. So there is a quick recap of the two steelbooks in case you're interested in jotting these down and picking one up for yourself. And of course, you can always leave me suggestions too. Next is a Mediabook for the movie Mr. Majestic. And this is a fun movie if you want to see Charles Bronson playing a watermelon farmer, then check this movie out. There's a lot of action. This is a French Mediabook. The only bad thing about this edition is it has forced captions on the screen at all times. You can't take them off, but you can watch it in a couple different languages for audio, but the captions are forced on the screen, so you can't get rid of them. But this, other than that, I mean, it's, and the spine is backwards. If you have a little OCD, you notice that. I'll take a look and show you what I mean. Normally, you know, you look at your shelf and the title is this way, but they have it the opposite way. I don't know, man. What's wrong with the French? We don't know, but all jokes aside, this is a really cool edition, though. It's all in French. Paul Koslo plays in here. He was a collaborator with Bronson on a couple movies, and Koslo was a real dirty bastard in this movie. So Charles Bronson plays Mr. Majestic. He is a watermelon farmer. He hires a lot of immigrants to help him pick the crop and to kind of store them in this shed that he has. And he pays them, but there's a couple of different villains. There's Paul Koslo right there. There's two different villains in the movie. One wants to run Bronson out of town and take his business, and the other one wants a cut of the money that he's making off of the product. And this guy here was the main, I guess you call him a mafioso in the movie. His name is escaping me at the moment, but he also played in Godfather, the Godfather movie. He passed away a couple years after this movie was made. He died really young. I think he had cancer, I'm not sure. There's some pretty good action in here. There's some car chases. This is definitely worthy of a watch if you love the Bronson action movies, the tough guy role, and the I won't back down type of a character. Then you'll like Mr. Majestic. I wasn't really sure how to present this video in this collection. I was thinking about doing them alphabetically and then put them on a shelf and show you. And then I was thinking about grouping them by action in one pile, westerns in the other pile, and And then I was thinking about doing them chronological, like from his first movie through the last. But what I did was I just kind of grouped them together by label. And so this stack that we're going to go through now are the Death Wish movies on DVD. And then I'll just show you the upgrades on Blu-ray, and we'll get through these two piles here in this segment. So the first one, and these are really fun movies. These are good popcorn action movies. This is Death Wish. This may be his crown jewel. This is probably the one that most people realize or think about when they hear the name Charles Bronson. They think Death Wish right away, but he was very versatile. Although he did have a lot of the same type of character in a lot of his movies. He was just kind of this stoic, tough guy, no nonsense, you know. But this was a really good series. I really liked it. It's kind of a vigilante, revenge type character, and they made 5 movies of it. This is a pretty cool cover. I like that. And then this is the Blu-ray upgrade. So we'll talk about the DVD a little bit more first. This one was put out by Paramount. The movie came out in 1974, 93 minutes running time. And I'm sure you have seen this before or heard about it. There's been a very kind of a violation type crime that happens, and to somebody that Bronson loves. And Paul, what's his name in the movie? Paul Kersey. Something happens pretty bad to someone he loves, and he goes walking through hell to take revenge, and it's really good. That's the DVD of it. And here's the Blu-ray. It's saying here this is the 40th anniversary edition for the first time now on Blu-ray. So this would have been put out in 2014. And the next little stack here. These are all Death Wish 2. I'm going to put the Blu-rays to the side for a moment, and we'll go through the 2 DVDs first, and then I'm going to go get something to drink, some ice water or something, because my mouth feels really dry. This was the first release of it here by MGM Studios. That's a pretty cool cover. That reminds me of like the VHS days right there. This one came out in 1982, so 8 years after the original. Paul Kersey's back, and he's kicking butt. Legendary tough guy. 1 hour, 29 minutes. There's not a whole lot to say about these movies other than they're just mindless fun. You don't have to do a lot of thinking. This is what the 80s were like. You know, there was a lot of action movies like this where you can just, you know, get a soda and a big bowl of popcorn and just stuff your popcorn hole and watch these movies. So this was the first release of it. Let me see if I can find out when. 2004 this came out. And then this one was much later, but I don't remember what the reason was for this. Well, you could see a young Lawrence Fishburne right there. He plays one of the baddies or one of the villains. This one came out in 2012, so 8 years after that last one. Good old Canon films from back in the day. Let's see, take a look at the sides here. You can see little character photos here, if I can get that to focus. So that was Death Wish 2. So these are the Blu-ray upgrade, and this is actually the Blu-ray here, and this was a 4K upgrade by Vinegar Syndrome. We'll start with the Scream Factory edition. Are they calling it Scream or Shout? Well, it's the same company, Scream and Shout, but this has the Shout logo on it. Usually they designate the horror movies with the Scream label, but again, it's the same movie, just an upgrade. It looks really good on Blu-ray. I thought it was a pretty significant upgrade from DVD to Blu-ray. I also have the VHS tapes for this series, so if you want to stick around till the very end, I will be showing those as well. If you want to pause and read a little bit about that. The film also has a score by Jimmy Page from Led Zeppelin. You can see there's some special features there. So there's two different cuts here too. You get an 89-minute theatrical cut and a 91-minute unrated. So you get 2 extra minutes out of it. And this one was locked to region A. And there's the disc. And there's a reverse cover. If I can get this out. And that cover is the same one that they have on the slip cover for Vinegar Syndrome. So that was the Scream Factory or Shout Factory special edition of Death Wish 2. Next up is a really beautiful edition from Vinegar Syndrome. This was limited to 5,000 copies. Pretty sure this sold out. Bronson's loose again. I like that cover. What can I tell you about this one that's not on the other stuff? Pretty much all the same. This is the unrated. I don't know if it has both. It does have both. Now here it's saying the, let's see, the 1982 theatrical is 92 minutes. No, I take that back. Hold on, let me get in here. It's hard to read this. It says uncut 1982, 92 minutes, not rated, and the TV version is 95 minutes. I'm not sure. I didn't realize there was a TV version of it. And then on the inside you get the Blu-ray and the 4K. And there's a reversible cover, which is the same image that's on the slip cover. So I'm not going to pull that out, but this is a really cool edition. I'm really hoping, I doubt that anybody from Vinegar Syndrome or Scream Factory watches my videos, but I'm really hoping that somebody can put together a complete set for Death Wish on 4K in one box set. That's my dream. And the same thing for the Dirty Harry franchise too. I want that in one set, 4K, and I'll probably never buy it again after that. That's all I really need. But I'm talking a lot here, so let's move on to the next one, which is Death Wish 3. So next is Death Wish 3. I love that cover again. It just brings me back to the VHS days. Really well done cover, and then they re-released it probably like 10 years after this one. So what's old Paul Kersey up to in part 3 from 1985? I think this is the one where he's trying to chase the gangs out of his neighborhood because they're causing hell, lighting fires and stealing and looting. And I think he's just trying to take his neighborhood back, if I remember. That may have been 4. A lot of these just kind of blend together because it's the same character and just different scenes of action. That's all it is. But again, it's really fun. Really, really fun franchise here. I never did see the Bruce Willis reboot. I bought it. I have it here somewhere, but I never did see it yet. So it's Death Wish 3. And we have Death Wish 4. You can see that he's aging a little bit. He's got a little silver, a couple silver shocks and that dark black heroic vigilante hair of his. Charles Bronson was a really good, tough guy. He was a coal miner before he became an actor. This movie came out in 1987. He was incredibly physically fit. I mean, he was just, I doubt there was an ounce of fat on his body. This is the re-release of it from 2012. And the last one for the Death Wish franchise is Death Wish 5, The Face of Death. And sadly, Charles Bronson never did win an Academy Award. In fact, he was never even nominated for one. He was never really that kind of an actor. He was more or less kind of a tough guy type actor. I mean, tough guys can win Academy Awards too, but they never really put him in a role to even be considered. I think a lot of the roles that he played were basically the same character, just different movies with different names. So here's the first one. I'm trying to see a year. I can't. The print is so small. How in the hell do you guys read that stuff? Maybe it'll say here on this one. 1993. Wow, I didn't realize it was that late. 93 was kind of late in the game for Bronson. The movies got a little bit, I don't want to say worse. I'd say they got more silly as the franchise went on, but they're still fun. Now here's a couple of multi-packs that I have for the Death Wish movies. The first two I bought at a Dollar Tree, and I'll keep buying these for $1 if I see them. This is on Blu-ray, Death Wish 2, 3, and 4. For $1 I bought these. That's ridiculous. Even though I have all these movies, I couldn't pass it up for $1. It's a really, really nice set. Each disc, each movie has its own disc. There's 3 discs in here. Is that right? Hold on. Let me double check before I'm giving you wrong info here. I believe it is though. So you get Death Wish 2, 3, and 4. Would you buy this for $1? And here's just another one. This one's still sealed. Factory sealed. Is it mental illness to keep buying the same movie over and over just because of the price? Or is it thrifty kind of good collecting sense, knowing that maybe these will be a little bit sought after in the future and you can trade with somebody or help them out? Or is it a mental illness? And if I bought another 2 or 3 of these, is that loony bin time? I don't know, but I just can't let these sit in the bin for $1. So at the time when I bought this Blu-ray, this was the only way I could find it on, or Part 5 on Blu-ray, and this was put out by, is this Eureka? No, this is from Umbrella. This Umbrella is an Australian company. I imported this, but that's the only way at the time that you could get the Part 5 on Blu-ray. I like that Canon Classics double feature banner at the top. That's pretty cool. That cover is awesome. This is a really cool release. Comes in the fatter pack that the Euros use, the Europeans. And I know Australia is not Europe, but I'm just kind of comparing it to something you may know about. Let's see. Some special features, not a whole lot, but just to get Part 5 on Blu-ray was cool. And then the next set came out, and I kind of put this away since. I'll show you that now. So this is the Death Wish 1 through 5, everything together in one nice clean case. They're calling it the complete collection. I imported this one from the UK. You get all 5 movies uncut together in one package. And I really, really recommend this one. I think at the time when I bought this, I think it was like $30 or $40. I think it's gone up a little bit since. I don't know if it's out of print or what. But again, I haven't been looking for it because I have it already. But I would recommend this. If you guys can track this one down, you get all 5 movies in one nice, clean set. I'll take the bag off if you want to see what it looks like inside. Okay, so during transit, this one got a little bit cracked in here. So there's a piece missing right there. And eventually I need to get a different case. But for now, there's nothing really dangerous with the discs or anything. But each movie has its own disc. There's no danger of the discs getting scratched or anything like that. But this is a really, really cool set. I would say if you can find this for even like $50 or $60 or less, like I would say the high mark maybe 60. And I wouldn't be surprised though if you wanted to hold out that this may get a 4K box set at some time. I'm thinking it almost has to. Same thing with the Dirty Harry movies. But if you can't wait and you didn't know this existed, now you want to go get it, check it out, see if you can get it for around 50 or so, and scoop it up. I think next we'll get into the Kino Lorber pile, and then we'll just kind of work our way through the Blu-rays, and then we'll transition to DVDs, and then we'll go in the other room for the VHS. This one is Breakheart Pass. This is a good action movie taking place in the wintry setting. I love the outdoor winter snow settings. It's a movie from 1975. And Charles loved his wife right there, Jill Ireland. She was a British actress. And he included her in a lot of his movies, and I know a lot of the Bronson fans didn't really care much for that, because I'll be honest, I didn't really think Jill Ireland was all that great of an actor, but considering the type of movies that she was playing in, she didn't have to, because these were not Academy Award-winning movies. But he did spend a lot of time with his wife on the movie set and in the movies. 1975, 95 minutes running time. If you want to get in there and read a little bit about that. I think I need a nap. I'm not really thinking clearly right now. I got a little bit of kind of a cloudy head. But that is Breakheart Pass, and I really enjoy this movie. The scenery and the atmosphere is really good. I prefer Charles Bronson in his like vigilante roles or his police detective roles, but he was really good in these westerns too, and this one's called The White Buffalo. This one also had really good scenery, kind of a frontier type movie, period piece. This was from 1977. And Bronson did a lot of collab work with J. Lee Thompson. They worked together on quite a few movies. Clint Walker's also in this movie. He was a Western legend. Kim Novak was in here. She was really nice on the eyes, especially back in those days. This is White Buffalo. The next movie is called Violent City, and this was the first way I had it. This is the Italian edition, and it's only in Italian language. And then I purchased it when Kino put it out on Blu-ray, and this is a really beautiful edition. So this one surpasses this one now. We'll talk about this one in a minute, though. I'm just going to kind of show you this one. Let me see here. You can watch it with Italian or French audio, and you can watch it with English or Italian subtitles. This is a movie from 1970, and these are the type of movies I prefer. This was 1970. I like the Charles Bronson 1974 to about 79. Those are my favorite movies of Bronson's. He had a really good 5-year run between like 74 and 79. But that is the Italian title for Violent City, and we'll quickly transition into the Kino edition and just check out this cover. You got Telly Savalas, you got Charles Bronson, you got Jill Ireland again. This one also comes with The Family from 1973. You get a bonus movie. You want to read about that? I think I have The Family on DVD, but not on Blu-ray. Let me double check here. No, I don't have The Family. I think I may have it on DVD, though. We'll find out when we go through the DVDs. But let me open this up. We'll take a look. This is a really nice edition. So there's the cover again, the slip cover. And you get a different cover on the inside. You get 2 discs. You get Violent City, and you get The Family. think it's the same movie, just a different title. So basically what I just showed you, I guess they're calling this edition The Family. And just because you can see the cover here in the back. Oh, that's not the same one, but you can see that image is on the cover there. I don't know what the difference between the two is. Let's see. So Violent City, this edition is 109 minutes running time. And The Family is from 1973, 96 minutes running time. Not sure. I'm not sure why they did it that way, but that is a Violent City. I'll have to do a little more research on this and I'll see if I can figure it out. Next one from 1973, The Valdez Horses. This was a pretty fun. This kind of shows a softer side of Bronson. He befriends a runaway kid who was played by Vincent Van Patten. He was the son of Dick Van Patten. It was actually a pretty cool interview with him, with Vincent Van Patten, called Bronson and Almeria. And this also goes under the title of Chino. I do have the DVD called Chino. It's the same movie, just a different title. And if you want to read a little bit about that, pretty good stuff. I'll take it out and we'll look at the inside. So there's the slipcover. There's the insert cover, the sleeve, whatever you want to call it. And then it just has the same image that's on the slipcover on the back. I like to always flip those so you can kind of get both cover arts there, but it's another movie I recommend. And actually there's really, I shouldn't say there's no bad Bronson movies, but I haven't come across one yet. I would recommend everything I've shown so far. This next one's pretty good too. I've seen this a couple times now, and this is actually one of Charles Bronson's better roles. This is called 10 to Midnight, and he's a detective who chases a serial killer through the streets. Bronson has a partner in this movie, another detective, and they know who the guy is, but they can't prove it because he's always one step ahead of everybody. He's always very careful of what he does. He removes his clothes, and so he doesn't get blood on his clothes, and then he goes and does his murderous rampage, and he's kind of an incel, and he has a hard time finding a girlfriend. So he takes it out and he slaughters a bunch of beautiful women. And Bronson is just one step behind him, but he can't quite get that last step that he needs to apprehend this guy. But there's a pretty good climax to this movie. Bronson played a great role, and this is the kind of role Bronson was made for here. This is the Twilight Time edition. All of these Twilight Time editions were limited to 3,000 pieces. You can see that there. Limited to 3,000. This one came out in 1983, 102 minutes. There's Bronson on the left. That young lady in the middle plays his daughter in the movie. And his partner there on the right is Andrew Stevens. Andrew Stevens is his partner there. And it's a pretty cool cop buddy movie. Bronson's kind of the grizzled veteran, and he's been around the block, so he knows what he's doing. And his partner he's a good cop too, but he just has different techniques and different ways of doing things. But in the end of the movie, they do a good job in the end. Oh, I'm not going to give it away. I'm not going to tell you what happens. You do need to check it out though. And this was the Scream Factory edition of the same movie. This is a really nice edition too. I've watched this on both, and I mean, there's not much difference. I mean, they both look excellent though. It looks really good. That's 10 to Midnight. I recommend it. The next movie is another excellent kind of detective, kind of plays by his own rules, and he always kind of does things overkill, I mean, there's a lot of social commentary in this movie though too, and it starts right away in the beginning. This is the beginning scene right here. Bronson gets called into, so when the movie first starts, there's a bunch of cops on the street. The streets are blocked off. You can see the sirens. You can see reporters out there. You can see, crowds of people gathering around to see what's going on. Bronson pulls up, gets out of his car. One of the guys gives him a quick briefing and says, there's I forget what they called him, a Puerto Rican kid in there with, and he has a big gun. And the first thing Bronson says is, yeah, in a short future. And it's kind of like one of those type of movies. He always has like a little one-liner. But he goes in there and he tries to get the kid to peacefully surrender. The kid starts shooting at him. Bronson shoots back. This is the scene where he shoots him. He kind of falls and gets dangled in this fire escape. And all the reporters are saying, why are you cops always killing people? So it's like, this movie came out in the early 70s and things have not changed. Here we are in 2025. It's the exact same social commentary. Instead of blaming, the criminals, they want to blame the police. So this was an Indicator Powerhouse edition that was sent to me by them to review, and this is a really beautiful edition. I'll open this up and show it. And then this is one I purchased from Twilight Time. It's the same exact movie. You can see Norman Fell. He's not the commissioner, but he's kind of an in-between. I think he's Bronson's supervisor, and then the commissioner is his boss. So he's kind of always apologizing for the stuff that Bronson does in the movie because, like I said, it's always overkill. But I'm going to pause it here. We'll take a look inside. This is a really beautiful edition. You get 2 discs. You get the Blu-ray and then a DVD's behind it. And there's an alternate cover as well. Indicator is really good. They're a top company. I think we're spoiled by some of the people that are keeping physical media alive. But this also comes with a booklet, and I'm going to go through that in a minute. But here's the limited edition special features. This was limited to 3,000, if you can see right there. And a pretty nice thick booklet here. Let's see if we can flip through it. It's probably 30 pages, maybe 40 pages. Well, it's 39, so a lot of write-ups. I love booklets in movies. It really adds that little cherry to the top. But I really like this movie a lot. Here's the Twilight Time edition of the same movie I just showed you. Not too much for special features. And you get 1 disc Blu-ray. Some nice artwork here in the middle. This cop plays dirty. I wouldn't say he plays dirty, but there was definitely, I think they were trying to, it was definitely social commentary. I'm not sure if they were purposely trying to make the detectives and the police look like they were bloodthirsty monsters, but he had his own way of doing things and he got the job done. He didn't mess around, put it that way. This is a really thin little booklet, but again, I enjoy these. There's a couple different car chase scenes, but there's a really, really good one, a long one, probably about like 3/4 into the movie. It's pretty good. It's very unrealistic. Some of the things, like they were jumping their cars over tracks and landing on the ground and not even like spinning out or causing damage to the car. But again, these are you don't have to think a lot when you're watching these movies. You just put them on and have fun with them. So we'll stick with Twilight Time, and this one's called Chato's Land. This one came out in 1972. This guy was always working, man. He always had, I don't think he took much time off. And that's another director who he collaborated with frequently, Michael Winner. It says, this familiar team of director Michael Winner and star Charles Bronson joined forces with Chato's Land, focusing on Bronson's stoic Apache, pursued by scrupulous posse of rapists and murderers. So my video just now, because I said that, is not going to be able to be monetized. They're going to have to. So what happens now? Because I said rapists. The AI picks that up, and it's going to. I'm going to try to monetize this, but it's not going to let me, and it has to go under further review. And sometimes it takes 3 days before they get back, and then they'll finally say either yes, you can monetize it, or no, you can take something out. But rapists is one of those words that gets you flagged. How ridiculous is that? And Jack Palance is in this movie too. Good soundtrack, good scenery. That is Chato's Land. Next one is another collab between husband and wife, Charles Bronson and Jill Ireland, From Noon Till 3. I have not watched this movie yet. I bought this years ago when it first came out. I have to be honest, seeing that cover does not want me to, it doesn't urge me to want to watch this movie, but I'm sure it's probably pretty good and I'll watch it eventually. 1976, a whimsical Western romance, and that's probably why I didn't watch it yet. Nothing wrong with romantic movies. I like romantic comedies. I'm not afraid to admit it. But when I want to watch my favorite tough guy or one of my favorite tough guys, I don't want it to be, But I had to cut myself off there and edit that last clip because I said a naughty word. I don't want to do that, but I was saying I don't want my tough guy to be in a romance movie. But I'm not completely 100% against it. Like I said, eventually I will watch this. It's not like I'm going to stand my ground and say, no, I'll never. But I prefer watching Bronson when he's just out smoking fools and bringing in the bad guys in bags. But anyway, this is From Noon Till 3. If you've seen it, let me know how you liked it. The next one is from 1986. This is another kind of a grizzled veteran LAPD detective trying to get all the bad guys. Murphy's Law. And let's see, what can we tell you about this one? I haven't seen this one in a while, but I have watched it before. It's 100 minutes running time. This was another J. Lee Thompson movie that they collaborated on. Features Bronson as a hard-boiled LAPD cop framed for murder by Joan Freeman, a vicious ex-con he originally put in prison. Going on the run, handcuffed to a foul-mouthed petty thief, he attempts to track down Freeman, even as she keeps killing his associates. You can listen to the isolated track too. That was the one of the really good things about Twilight Time, is they would put the music on bonus features, so you can just listen to the music without watching the movie. I really love that feature that they did. Next one is Hard Times, kind of like a street brawler, boxer type movie, and Charles Bronson was just completely cut in this movie. He was chiseled. You can see it here. I mean, he kept in really good shape, and I bet you he could knock some people out, man. He wasn't a really big guy, but you don't have to be. Size doesn't mean anything, and this guy was just completely put together. Like I said earlier in this video, I don't think he had an ounce of fat on his body. So this was Walter Hill's debut film, Hard Times, 1975. Stars the legendary Charles Bronson, street fighter who joins forces in the Depression-era New Orleans. James Coburn is in here as well. And this is a really good movie. Some of the scenes will have you on the edge of your seat. Some of those fighting scenes were really good. In 1972, he made the movie The Mechanic. Some of these are a little bit harder to find now from Twilight Time because they're limited and they sell out and harder to find. But 100 minutes running time. Michael Winner's The Mechanic, 1972, stars his longtime collaborator Charles Bronson as a hardened professional hitman who's feeling the strains of his profession. That's a cool look for Bronson. I'm gonna leave that in there. I don't know why I said Manson. I think I need to take a nap, but let's keep moving. These are the kind of videos you get when you tune into my channel, just so you know. But I like that. What I was saying is I like that look, kind of that shaggy hair, that thin mustache. It's got, what is that, a blue jean jacket maybe? I'm not sure, but these are fun movies. And the last one for Twilight Time is a true crime based on a true life story about Joseph Valachi called the Valachi Papers. And Joseph Valachi, probably a lot of you know, maybe you don't. He was a rat, and he ended up testifying in court, and he gave a lot of names. And he was trying to bring down the mafia from the inside. But this was a pretty fun movie too, 1972. Bronson was a hard worker, man. Because I think we probably counted about 3 or 4 movies that he did in 72. Adapted from Peter Maas's bestseller, The Valachi Papers, 1972. Tells the true story of mafia informant Joseph Valachi, superbly incarnated here by Bronson, a low-level gangster associate with the Genovese crime family. Valachi moves from punk to full-fledged gangster over the course of a brutal narrative. This is a fun movie. If you guys like true crime, if you like mafia stuff, this has all of that. It's really good. And it's long. It's over 2 hours long, 125 minutes. I suppose I should show the Japanese version. It's the same movie. They call it Cosa Nostra, but this was the Japanese Blu-ray that I got years ago. I had this before I had this, so otherwise I probably would have never got this one. You can see it's all in Japanese back there. I guess not really much else to say other than it's the same movie, different title. Wanted to kind of add it here. Next, from 1958, is called Showdown at Boot Hill. This one was put out by Olive Films. It's 72 minutes running time. And this came out on Blu-ray in 2013, black and white. Crime thriller gang war movie back in kind of the frontier days. I mentioned this before in other videos too, but as I've gotten older, I really do love and appreciate the black and white films. It's almost like going back in time. That's what I love most about movies and music. You can listen to a movie, listen to a song, watch a movie, and it takes you back to that time where you have memories. That is Showdown at Boot Hill. I guess I should have shown you this. Earlier in the video, I showed you this one. I should have just showed them together, but this was the Kino Lorber edition of Breakheart Pass, which I did show you. Put that to the side. This was the same movie put up by Eureka from the UK. And this is a really nice edition too. I'll open it up and we'll take a look inside. But we already discussed it, so let me just pause it here and we'll take a look. And like I mentioned earlier, that the atmosphere is everything in this movie. You can see in the background all the snow, and you can hear the horse hooves crunching in the ice and snow, and it just adds to the movie. It's really good. So here's the Blu-ray. This is a DVD. Take this out. If I can get it out. And we'll see if we can get a better viewing here. Pretty cool. We talked about these movies earlier too. I just wanted to show these editions of them. This is kind of a plain Jane Blu-ray edition of Once Upon a Time in the West. It looks good on Blu-ray. It looks really good on Blu-ray. It just doesn't have a lot of the bells and whistles as some of the other, like the Steelbook or the box set. But this is still cool to have. And this was the Magnificent Seven collection, and this one has all of the Magnificent Seven movies in it, including the original from 1960, and then you get Return of the Magnificent Seven, 1966, Guns of the Magnificent Seven, 1969, and the Magnificent Seven Ride Again, 1972. I don't think Bronson was in any of them other than the original first one, but it's nice to have this box set because those are good movies. Okay, we have 2 more Blu-rays and that's it, and then we'll get into the DVDs. This is Bronson in Breakout. Again, he's with his wife, Jill Ireland. This time Robert Duvall joins him. This is a really nice edition from Indicator, and the movie came out in 1975. Quick synopsis at top says, sentenced to 28 years in prison for a crime he never committed. Only 2 things can get him out: a lot of money and Charles Bronson. So it's limited to 3,000. It was limited to 3,000 copies. It comes with a 32-page booklet. And I think we'll pop this open and take a look. Here's the booklet. We'll go through that in a minute. It's pretty thick, 40 pages. Those are really nice. Eureka's a great company. There's the disc, by the way. I took it out. Here's a reverse cover. Hey, Pally. Yeah, Bronson was great. I don't know if we'll ever see actors like this again. Like your Eastwoods and your Chuck Norrises and your Charles Bronsons. I don't know if we ever will. I don't know. Maybe someday when AI gets really good, we'll see some new Bronson movies. Wouldn't that be cool? See Bronson in a brand new movie. Prison Break movie starring Charles Bronson. If you're in jail, who else would you have come and get you out than Charles Bronson? Fun movie, popcorn movie. Okay, so here is the last Blu-ray, and this movie is freaking awesome. It's called Red Sun, and this is a clash in genres. You have the Western genre and the samurai genre, and a really great cast. You have Charles Bronson, the very lovely Ursula Andress, you have Toshiro Mifune, and you have Alain Delon, the French actor, who was another great actor. He just recently passed, I believe, within the last year or so. This is a really cool movie, though. I would recommend this to everybody. What year did this come out? 1971. And Charles Bronson is tasked with finding a stolen samurai sword. It says, billed as the first East meets West Western and directed by Terrence Young, is based on a true story from the American Wild West of the 1870s, when paths cross for an outlaw, Charles Bronson, a gunfighter, Alain Delon, and a prostitute, Ursula, and a samurai warrior, Mifune. Bronson plays Link, a train robber forced by the Japanese ambassador to help regain a priceless stolen sword. I would really recommend this to you guys. It's a really cool cross-genre movie. Some excellent legends in this movie. And I think I might watch this again this weekend. But that was it for my Blu-rays. Let's dive into the DVDs. Okay, so these are not in any particular order, and I'm gonna try to speed it up a little bit, just because I don't want this to be really, really long. But first one here is Raid on Entebbe. I don't remember much about this movie, if I've even seen it. It doesn't really bring back any memories for me, but let me see, when was this released? The DVD came out in 2007. Oh, John Saxon's in here as well. Yaphet Kotto is in here. He recently passed away too, I think, within the last couple of years. But that is Raid on Entebbe. I don't really know much about this, so I'm just going to keep moving. This next little trilogy on DVD is the Family of Cops movies. You got Family of Cops 2 and 3. These were later in Bronson's career. I believe Bronson's very last movie was Death Wish 5, but I'm going to have to research that. I'm not exactly sure, but this was not too far earlier than that. I'm trying to see a year on here. Anyway, this is part 2. This is my hometown right here. Let me read this to you here in the back. Inspector Paul Fine returns to take down the world's most infamous crime ring. When a local priest is brutally murdered, all evidence points to the Russian mafia. Forced to return to the neighborhood of his youth, Fine must confront the very demons he escaped many years earlier. But fear has a long and powerful reach in Milwaukee's close-knit Russian community. I was born in Milwaukee. I live in Racine. It's a different city, just probably 20 minutes south of Milwaukee, but I work in Milwaukee every day. When those who can help him refuse to talk, more people end up dead. So this is some more of your Bronson playing a detective out for vengeance, throwing bullets around and chasing in cars and stuff. But this is a fun little trilogy. I'd like to get this little box set in 4K if it ever comes out. This next DVD is from Vintage Movie Classics. You get 3 great movies for one price. Charles Bronson Vital Hits. You get Chino, Cold Sweat, and Someone Behind the Door. I get in quick and close if you want to read any of this. I think I need a nap, man. I'm not really thinking clearly today. I should have put this off until next week, but hopefully it's still not a bad video. But that's the Charles Bronson Vital Hits. I think it only comes on 1 DVD. Let's open this up. I think it's 1 DVD. They crammed all 3 movies on 1 DVD, so I'm assuming the picture quality is going to be terrible. So we're down to these last 2 piles. Pull this one a little bit closer. Some of these movies we talked about already on Blu-ray, so we don't have to talk too much more about them. And that's the case here with the first one, 10 to Midnight. I showed you a couple different Blu-ray editions. I really love this movie. I recommend it. This is really good. The next one is called Assassination. MGM put this out. Let me see if I can find a year. 1987. So this is some of the later movies in his career. Only one man can stop a killer inside the White House. They picked the right guy. Next one's called Chino. It's also known as Valdez Horses. It's the same movie, just a different title. And I showed you the Valdez Blu-ray earlier, so here's the Chino title. I also showed you the Valachi Papers Blu-ray, but here's the DVD of it. Here's the DVD of Hard Times. I showed you the Blu-ray earlier. James Coburn, another great actor. Next one is Messenger of Death. What the cops can't do, he will. 1988. Very aged Bronson. Murphy's Law, 1986. Showed this on Blu-ray. When these first came out, these DVDs, this has a nice, heavy, solid, good quality feel to it. I mean, the case feels heavy. It just doesn't feel like the new, like, eco-friendly cases now that are missing plastic. And these were the good old days right here. I have Rider on the Rain. I also have this one on a 2-pack from Wild East, but I didn't take that out of my collection today for this video. I'm just gonna show you this edition. When did this one come out? I'm not sure. It says, prepare for a Golden Globe winner that will take you on an international journey into murder and double cross. When a beautiful young woman in the south of France is stalked and then attacked by a mysterious masked assailant, she is determined to seek revenge. Hunting him down, she kills him in cold blood and dumps his corpse in the sea. Trying to return to her life before the attack, her world is turned upside down when an American investigator turns up and, to her horror, seems to know everything about what she has done. This is another good movie here, The Evil That Men Do. Whenever I hear this title, and it has nothing to do with this movie, but there was a movie called Runaway Train with Jon Voight, and there was a scene in that movie. An upset lady says to him, "You're an animal." She's crying, you know, tears are streaming down her face. She's all upset, and she says to Jon Voight, "You're an animal." He said, "I'm not an animal. I'm worse. I'm human." And it's so true, man. When I hear, you know, when I see this title, The Evil That Men Do, it's. But anyway, this is a pretty cool movie. Over the top. You can see explosions and stuff like that. A lot of lead throwing. Bronson is back, and he's hotter than ever in this tough, hard-hitting action drama. And this is one I haven't seen yet. This is St. Ives. I think the cover looks great. I just haven't gotten around to watch this one yet. John Houseman is in here. Wow. I was trying to find the... Oh, is that Jacqueline Bisset? That's who that is. Jacqueline Bisset. She was one of the angels, right, from Charlie's Angels, I think. The movie came out in 1976, if I didn't already say that. Ex-crime reporter Raymond St. Ives has elegant taste, a yen for gambling, and an unfinished novel in his typewriter. When he crosses paths with the sinister Oliver Procane, he gets something else, a price on his head. Classic mystery. I'll have to check this one out, see if I can get that on Blu-ray. And here is Kinjite, Forbidden Subjects. This guy did a lot of work, man. Charles Bronson has a lot of movies. I don't even have everything that he's done. This one came out in 1989. He started his career, I believe his first appearance in a movie was 1951, I think, if I remember right. And then he went all the way through till Death Wish 5, which was 1993. So he was in movies for over 40 years. That's a great career, man. A lot of fun times. A lot of memories from Charles Bronson. And here's one that we talked about earlier. Michael Winner movie called The Mechanic. I love these DVDs. I never get rid of things when I upgrade them. That's why I have so much stuff. But I could never get rid of something like this. That's just amazing to me. I love that cover. It brings me back to the good old days. And here's Breakheart Pass. We talked about this one too. The snowy setting Western movie. Now here's an action adventure double feature. And this movie has nothing to do with Bronson here on the left, but this one does, Death Hunt. And the Blu-ray for Death Hunt is out of print, and it's going for some pretty good money. I think it's around $60. I don't have it. I don't know if I'm going to spend $60 for that movie on Blu-ray. It's pretty rare. I'm pretty happy with this 2-pack here. Lee Marvin, Charles Bronson, a couple of the toughest guys, whoever did it. And it's a movie from 1981. If I can find Death Hunt on Blu-ray for like maybe, I think the most I would go is probably 40. I was gonna say 35, but I probably would take it for 40 or less. This is another good one. Bronson teams up again with Yul Brynner and Robert Mitchum, who's a great actor. I really like his acting chops were great. If you ever want to see a really good interview with Robert Mitchum, you can look it up here on YouTube. It was Dick Cavett interviewed him, and it was really good. And I think it was like around 1981-ish or so when they did that interview. And you could just see the cool that exuded from this guy. I mean, he was just class act all the way. He was a good actor and a really good speaker. He was just really fun to listen to. And you can check that out here on YouTube. I would recommend doing that. It's a fun movie. This also has a Blu-ray release, but I don't have it yet. So the next one I have two doubles of. This one's still sealed in shrink wrap. And this one I got a few years ago at a pawn shop. It was only like $2. So this is the one I watched. I don't have this on DVD. I mean on Blu-ray. This one I'm just going to keep sealed. I'll probably end up using that as a trade or a gift to somebody, or I may just give it away. But this is Guns of Diablo, starring Charles Bronson and a really young Kurt Russell. I wish there were some pictures on here we can see them, but this is from 1964. So Kurt Russell would have probably just been, I don't know, 10 maybe. I'm not sure when Kurt Russell was born, but he was just a child when he was in this movie. So that would be cool to have that memory as a child to work with Charles Bronson. And the last two we talked about a couple of different times already. I have the Blu-ray Steelbook from the UK, and then I had kind of a plain Jane Blu-ray release. These are the two different DVD sets. This was the first one I had. This is the first time I ever owned the movie, was here in this set. It came in this old fat pack style. There's two different discs here. It comes with the chapter stops here on the inside. We don't really have to talk much about this movie anymore, but I really, really recommend, if any of the movies I talked about today interested you, I would probably recommend this one the most. And then if you've never seen the Death Wish movies, definitely check those out. Stone Killer is really good, 10 to Midnight, but this one, you need to check this one out. Everybody should see this at least once. And then they re-released it with some more stuff. This was kind of a collector's edition. Had some more bonus features, so I got this one probably, I don't know. I got this one first, and maybe like, well, let's see, maybe 10 years later. When did this come out? I'm gonna guess 10, but it doesn't say, and I don't want to waste too much time looking for it. But this one is a digipack. Jason Robards played his ass off in this movie. All of the actors in this movie were excellent. So fun to watch this movie. A nice little booklet here. I'm not going to go too in depth with this because I still have two Laserdiscs to show you and some VHS tapes. So we're going to end this portion of the video. I'm going to stop it here, go get something to drink. My throat's getting a little dry, and then show you the two Laserdiscs. Oh, we took a little break. We're back at it. Heidi's in the other room, but I still have my bestie here. So I only have two Laserdiscs. I think I would like to at least complete the Death Wish franchise on Laserdisc, but so far I have Death Wish 1 on Laserdisc. Actually, let's put them side by side and take a nice look at them. I only have 1 and 2. I thought this one looked amazing. I just love that retro look to it. It's put out by Vestron Video. It has that colorful border. I just love the way that looks. And then this one's awesome too. These are really cool. I'm going to see if I can pick up 3, 4, and 5. This might be my favorite Bronson movie, I think. It's hard to pick, but I much prefer him as either a vigilante or a detective / cop. Those are my favorite Bronson movies. And then here's Death Wish 2. I guess not really much else to say. I do love these though. I think these are really cool. So we have one more portion of the video. We're gonna go look at the VHS tapes in the other room, and we'll wrap this up. Okay, so I did put them on a shelf just to kind of give myself a little more room to kind of work here. And it's only gonna be for this demonstration, and then I'm gonna put them somewhere else. But for my VHS tapes, I have this shelf here. That's pretty much it. And I have one clamshell it was a cut box. I don't really like it. I'm gonna probably end up getting rid of it. But so let's just start here with, first one is Assassination. Getting kind of a glare here. Hold on. I'll be right back. So I turned the ceiling light off and I put my flash on my camera. Hopefully this will work a little bit better. But these are in plastic cases, so it's almost impossible to keep the glare off. But here's Assassination. This one was put out by Media. It's a Canon movie from the 80s. And then Chino, also known as Valdez Horses. Cold Sweat. This is another Cold Sweat, same movie, just a different cover. Death Wish. Death Wish 2. Death Wish 3. I'm starting to get tired, and it's only not even 8 o'clock p.m. my time. I didn't sleep really good last night. I'm gonna take a nap, I think, after this. Death Wish 4. And I believe this was Bronson's last movie. I'll have to look that up. I think I heard that somewhere, that this was his last movie. Here's The Evil That Men Do. I have 2 editions here of Hard Times. One's in a little bit better shape. This one's a little bit better. Not much. I mean, what difference does it make? I'll probably trade one of those. Honor Among Thieves. The Mechanic. Messenger of Death. Murphy's Law. Mr. Majestic. The Red Sun. Very fun movie. Soldiers of Fortune. Someone Behind the Door. And these last 3 are the same movie. I have doubles of this one, 10 to Midnight. These are in really good condition, and this one's still sealed. And this was the first release of it. You can see when they first released it, they spelled it T-E-N to Midnight, so you would put that in with your T's. But for me, and then when they re-released it, they put the number 1010. So for me, I always alphabetize with numbers first and then letters. But in that case, I just put them all together just to show them. But one more thing here that's called Telephone, and this one has a Blu-ray release. Whoever owned this at one time cut the box and then put it in this clam, which I'm not the biggest fan of. I hate it when people cut the boxes. I don't think I'm gonna keep this though, so I have it, but I don't know how long. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have any questions or suggestions, you can always leave a comment. Otherwise, I hope you enjoy your night. Have the rest of your weekend is good, and take care. Bye.